And as a physiotherapist who works with organizations and corporate individuals, I have come to realize that pain does not start in one day. Now, the truth about pain that you must understand is that it always works in a pattern. Always, always, always. So now as an organization, the question you should be asking is, what is the way forward? How do I stop this pattern from repeating itself over and over again in the organization? There are some things you can put in place. We're going to be going through them together. As a physiotherapist, it has become a normal thing that every time I see patients who come into the clinic to complain about pain, you see that secretary who comes down with wrist pain, or you see that engineer who comes down with neck pain. All of these because of the posture they take while they are working. You see an office worker who comes down with back pain because, the workspace is not supporting them. Now, that is already an issue. There is a bigger issue. When I see these people, most times one of the questions I ask is, when did this pain start? And you hear some of them say 3 weeks ago, 4 months ago. Some people even say up to a year. And then I'm wondering, why exactly have you waited this long before coming into the physiotherapy clinic? And then you hear them say things like, oh, I thought it was normal. I thought it was going to get better. I just thought it was part of the job. All of these things point to one particular question. When did we consider pain to be a part of the job? When did it become normal that an office worker must come down with back pain? When did it become normal that a secretary must suffer from wrist pain? All of these things are because we've not put in the right structure to ensure that a person can work comfortably and still live his or her best life. And as a physiotherapist who works with organizations and corporate individuals, I have come to realize that pain does not start in one day. It never happens in one day. The wrist pain, the back pain, the shoulder pain, the knee pain you may be experiencing or your team may be experiencing did not start today. It started from those little habits that were usually ignored or attention was not given to it early enough. Now, the truth about pain that you must understand is that it always works in a pattern. Always, always, always. That's one thing I want you to take away from this video, that pain always works in a pattern. Now, what's the pattern? Number one, the employee feels the discomfort. The employee can feel that there is something going on in my neck. I don't feel comfortable. What is wrong? They may even ask the questions, but it ends there. No action is taken. So they brush it off. They ignore it. They say, don't worry, I'll be fine tomorrow. Now they come tomorrow and that pain continues. That discomfort, maybe not pain in quotes, but that discomfort, that little tingling here and there that they just associate with the job. Now it moves from them knowing that there is a problem to doing absolutely nothing about it. So what happens next? They try to work through the pain. So a secretary is having wrist pain, but the secretary still types. A secretary is having discomfort in her wrist, but she still does what she has to do. She still meets up with the deadlines because she's trying to work through the pain. Now, when you work through the pain and then you find out that, oh, I have wrist pain, but I can still work with it, it brings you to a point where you accept the pain. So you come to that point where you are like, okay, I know I actually have wrist pain, but the fact that I can work while I still have wrist pain means I can manage it. And so they accept the pain. Now, what that does is that they automatically linked that pain to the workspace. So a secretary says it's normal to have wrist pain. An engineer says it's normal to have back pain. An office worker who works from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. says it's normal to have back pain because they've worked through these things and they've come to a point where they've accepted it. But as an organization, you must understand that the point where your employees start to accept pain as a part of the job is where you start losing money, whether or not you like it. The question you really want to ask is, why do employees get to the point where they accept pain to be a part of the job? Why do they not raise concerns? Why do they not tell the authorities that, oh, this is what I'm dealing with? There are some reasons that I would like to share with you, and you may also reason them through with me. One of those reasons is that they think every other person is going through the same pain. So An office worker thinks the next office worker is dealing with the same pain. An engineer thinks his colleague is dealing with the same pain. Sometimes they don't want to appear weak. They don't want it to look like they are complaining about pain. They don't want it to look like they don't want to do the job they have to do. And so they work through this pain. Sometimes it may be because they may have complained in the past and absolutely nothing was done about it. So they are like, what exactly is the need to do this again? Why do we need to go through the route of complaining when nothing will be done? And that is why, as an organization, you must understand that your employees' complaints cannot be the only way to measure whether there is a problem in the organization or not. Because your employees can make adjustments, they can compensate, they can ignore the pain, they can accept the pain, but it does not mean that you are not leaving money on the table. The question you should be asking is, what is the way forward? How do I stop this pattern from repeating itself over and over again in the organization? There are some things you can put in place. We're going to be going through them together. Number one is the workstation setup. Now, you must note this, that your employees should be able to work comfortably. You give them the task they are supposed to do, and they are supposed to be able to work through this task in the most comfortable position possible. And what this means is anything that would support that comfortability should be something you pay attention to. So that means, what exactly does their chair look like? Are their chairs actually comfortable for them? Not the wooden ones that do not give comfort. When they sit on these chairs, can they work for a period of time without feeling like they are sitting on a log of wood? What is their table setup like? Is there a way to optimize their workspace so that they are able to work without pain and without discomfort? Another thing you want to pay attention to is, what is their sitting to standing ratio like? How often does their work make them sit down? How often does their work make them stand? These are the things you want to pay attention to. If your employees have to sit down for a very long period of time because of the workload, that means there is already a problem in how the work is being done. I was working with a private client recently, and I told her, oh, you have to sit down for this amount of minutes and get up for this amount of minutes. And she told me something. She said, this period, I honestly cannot follow this routine. She had so much to do. There were so many tasks for her to deal with. And at that particular time, standing up for 5 minutes in every 30 to 45 minutes was honestly not realistic for her. But some people go through this rigorous routine every single day. So imagine you're loading your employees with workload that the only way they can survive is to sit down for so long to get that job done, or they stand for so long to get that job done. Now, the tasks are being met, deadlines are being met, but they are suffering. And the bad thing about it is, one way or the other, it is going to affect the organization. So what do you want to do instead? How can we break down these people's job in a way that they are able to function optimally and also able to get the needed rest for their body? One thing you must get to work through is, what is their work to recovery ratio like? Let me explain what that means. If you're loading your employees with so much job to do that they do not have enough time to recover, that means they will definitely come down with this pain. Now, what happens when they come down with pain? When your employees are in pain, they cannot concentrate, no matter how efficient they want to be, no matter how up to task they want to be. If there is pain, concentration is automatically reduced. They would not be able to do what they need to do. So they may be zoning out at work. They may be sitting there, but they are not being productive. That is what we call presenteeism. They are right there in the office, they are right there in the workstation, but they are not productive in any way. It can also cause mental fatigue. So they are there, they are supposed to write something, they are supposed to do something, but the ideas are not flowing because their bodies are not being supported. The list goes on and on. Now, as a business, as an organization, You must understand that if your employees start to consider pain as a part of the job, you must also be ready to consider reduced productivity, reduced output as a part of the business system. And as an organization, I understand that profit is one thing that wants to be made to the best of your ability. What this means is you want to put in check all of these things that would help your employees to perform optimally. Think about their workstation. What exactly is going on there right now? Are they equipped for the job? That's the question. Depending on the job that your employees are doing, is the workspace equipped for them? Number two, you want to educate them. This is not something that may be done by you, but you can get external bodies that can help you educate your work team on how to make use of their work environment for optimal purpose. As a workplace health consultant, I absolutely believe that it is possible to work and to work comfortably. It is possible to hit those targets and do them in the best way possible. And I believe that as an organization, you must also consider this as the way you want your employees to work. So today, I leave you with this. Go ahead to review your workstation. Go ahead to review the places where your employees are currently working. Are those places fit for your employees? And if they are, what else may be the problem that has been making them not to utilize this well? If they are not, then you want to consider optimizing the workspace for them. And this is where I call it today. If you have any question, anything at all, you can drop it in the comment section or contact the number showing on your screen. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.